Thank you all for making time. Appreciate it.
Feel free to grab snacks as well. I do not want to repeat of last time when you stayed and didn't eat. Watch out. Okay, so it is 6:30. So welcome to the June Design Review Committee meeting. I'm going to call the roll to confirm that our DRC members are present. So Mari Davis.
Here.
Robert Dudka. Rebecca Meyer.
Here.
And Andy Winchell.
Here.
Okay, so DRC meetings are held in person and streamed simultaneously to allow commissioners, applicants, and the public to attend online. For those joining us this evening, our meeting is available to stream on the county website, and there's also a dial-in phone option. If you lose internet connectivity, feel free to reconnect with us by phone. Applicants, please keep your devices muted and your video turned off until your item is under review. When called upon to speak, you may unmute yourself by the command bar. The meeting chat is active for participants who need technical assistance and not really for questions. The public may observe the meetings, but participation in the discussion is limited to the applicants and the members of the HLRB. Public comment is welcome at the HLRB meeting, and information about signing up as a speaker or submitting a public comment for that meeting is available on the HLRB website. Finally, this is a public forum. Today's meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the county website. All information associated with today's meeting, whether written or spoken, is subject to the Freedom of Information Act requirements. Okay, so we have a long agenda, and I've just realized that because it's not one, there we go. So let me pull up. Our first item is a review of a window for Colonial Village. So the commissioners saw this window at the end of the HLRB meeting last month, just as an informal review item. The guidelines were developed in 2015 for Colonial Village, which is a number of condos in a historic garden apartment. And in order to streamline the application for new windows, we developed design guidelines, which broadly included guidelines which would allow a number of different windows. The windows currently in the structure are aluminium windows. They are not original to the building, and we identified that that material and those windows were not character defining to the historic nature of the property in that case. Until now, applicants have usually been applying for a specific window made by a company called Paradigm, and that window has been discontinued. They do not have a window that currently matches it, and therefore the Colonial Village Board has submitted a number of different options to us, and applicants have also submitted some additional options to us. None of the windows currently that they have found meet the design guidelines. So any that we do, we are going to have to rewrite the design guidelines to meet those, which I'm working on right now, and then I will submit to the Colonial Village Board. However, the Board of Directors does have to sign off on these in addition to the HLRB for them to be valid. And so Mr. Lofgren and his wife submitted for some windows last year, and the window installer had said that they were going to comply with the dimensions. And the COA, the ACOA was submitted to them based on the idea that these windows would comply with them. They don't, and there's a sample here. Mr. Lofgren kindly brought his window in. You also saw it last week. It is not, we discussed last week that this does not diverge widely from the other windows that the HLRB thought were appropriate. The only difference was that there is a slightly different profile from the muntin that was listed as appropriate in the original design guidelines. And so the profile, there should be a, yes, so that is the profile. It is, I guess, a trapezoid. There is not a name for this kind of a profile that I've been able to find. But so these are the drawings of the, oh, not drawings, this is an image with the dimensions, and then these are the drawings submitted by the window installer. And so Mr. Lofgren and his wife have submitted to us to see if this window that does not comply with the 2015 guidelines could be approved for installation.
And you're welcome to join the table.
Yeah, sorry, I
if
just
you would
wanted to
like.
add.
Yeah.
And this is their proposed window, and these are some images of currently installed windows if you would like to have a look. Obviously, currently there are aluminium windows and these. They are submitting for vinyl windows. Vinyl is outlined in the design guidelines as an option, but we've also discussed the possibility of fiberglass. Wood is listed in the design guidelines. This is one of the windows that was considered to be more appropriate of the selection that we looked at because the screen is flush with the frame, whereas the paradigm single hung that we looked at, the screen was inset. And then the profile, because there is a screen that is movable, because this is a double hung window, there has to be a slight profile for the screen to go up and down. And it is less prominent on this than it was on the sunset or sunrise, whichever one of those it was. And the Marvin Ultimate.
Oh, and so that one, so the one picture there, Earthwise, that one's that's not that one.
Yes, that is
okay.
this exact window.
Okay, that was the one that was included with the documents online for this meeting. Okay.
So this is a close-up of this window.
I mean, as we sort of finished up discussing at the HLRB last time, I think that the windows. I mean, they're obviously everything differs from like the current guidelines essentially. I think that the difference is so fairly minor. So I think I would be in favor of entertaining that particular window. I mean, it is obviously it's different. I mean, the profile, the heavy profile around the window doesn't. I'm not super excited about that, but that said, I think that's also a bonus to the documents. They can move the screen up and down, obviously. So, I mean, I'd be in favor of that particular window. I mean, that's just my 2 cents. Sort of given all the sort of matrix of windows and nothing really works out anyway, I think that's an acceptable solution essentially. Or somebody can bring in one that actually hits the current existing parameters. That's
Well, I'd like to say that. What is the width of the existing buttons?
Or the windows that are currently being installed, or the windows that they have been
The
using.
windows should improve because the rails and the styles we're allowing up to 1¼ inches, and this is how much?
So this is the design guidelines that were approved in 2015. And so you're saying the stiles or the meeting rails. So you'll see it goes up to 1¼ inches here. The problem is that we're not seeing none of the windows that were reviewed in the last meeting meet all of these criteria. It appears these windows are just not produced anymore. And so that's why we are planning to update the design guidelines to include up to 3 1/8 inches for the maximum range from the edge of the glass to the edge of the frame on the top. And let me pull up the language and see. But this was within the parameters that we saw. We saw 2 other windows that were far away from it. So there was one where the meeting rail was far too narrow, and one where the stile on the bottom, or no, the rail on the bottom was far too wide.
right.
And do you have anything to add also? I mean,
Well,
I just
I look at the pictures, okay, and the guidelines, and these buttons, rails and styles are fairly thin, much like wood windows. What's being proposed, I think, is much wider. It's nearly double the size. But could you show the width of the?
So you're saying for the proposed,
Yeah,
which part is?
You look at those and the rails and stiles are much wider.
See what they are submitting. So they have not submitted dimensions.
It should be on the next
It's on the
page.
next page.
Um,
Perfect.
So the full mutton, including from edge to edge, is 7/8, which I believe was within the guidelines. The current ones that you'll find are 5 or like between 5/8 and 6/8, something like that. But we kind of measured the ones that were on our windows to verify that.
So the muttons are, they're the same, I mean, in the earthwise, and then as per the current guidance, right? The mutton width.
The width, I think, is
I mean, the profile
appropriate.
is
Is the profile that is the problem. So
Profile.
let's see. Width
Not as-
3/4 to 7/8 is what is acceptable.
Oh, okay, but one down. Okay, there. Those are obviously much wider.
I think you have a picture where it has you measured the width.
I think, well, if it's not
You're saying those are
7/8, they should be. I can go and get.
I think the measuring tape
There's
is the
something
card.
that said that they were somewhere in the documentation.
if they're 7/8, I don't have a problem. They sure don't look like it. They look
It
like
is
much wider.
7/8. Confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Profile does make it look a lot wider.
Rebecca?
I agree with everything that's been said.
So do we have a feeling about what kind of an agenda this could go?
I think it should probably go in discussion only because it's kind of, we did have a pretty good discussion last time about it, so I think it's probably better to go there. That way people have a chance to sort of, talk about it a little bit. I'll talk about it last time. That's my opinion. I mean,
Okay, so discussion agenda with currently no recommendation either way.
like, I mean, I guess maybe we're be split on it, so maybe not.
Okay.
I would recommend that. I think we are sort of collective.
Andy, do you agree? Discussion agenda?
I think so. I mean, I'd like to look at the window again. Okay. I think it probably ought to have the window there. If they want to review it, the whole board or take a look. That's fine. I'm just saying, pictures certainly don't look what.
You think the
I mean,
images?
either that or the ones we've got are much narrower than.
Well, we have allowed from, what was it, a half? All the way up? No, 3/4 to 7/8. So it shouldn't be vastly different. So if they are looking very different, then that's in all likelihood because they're narrower than 3/4.
I'm just looking at these photos.
Right. Some of which may also be windows that were installed before the design guidelines. So they may not be.
So do these windows that you photographed, do these meet our criteria?
Let's see. So, I
Both those
believe,
are general.
yes, so I believe these are since the local historic district, and these ones are.
And then those are the paradigms.
These are very-
Yes.
Okay. That's,
That's our current window.
that's
Make it smaller so you
Okay.
can see.
Well, I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the correct window.
Oh, okay, that's the.
Yeah.
So the discussion agenda, if everyone's still comfortable putting on the discussion agenda, that just means that the whole board will get to talk about it. Your item should be the first on the discussion agenda, so it will be like this, but a little bit more formal. You're welcome to come in person or attend online. I will follow up with any questions, but I feel like we have all the materials we need. Unless, Angie, did you want more photos submitted, like the photos they just showed you?
I'm just, I realize what been shown, the dimensions. These appear to be much narrower than what is being proposed. Just looking, these look much more like old wood window. They're quite thin. I'm just saying, based on these photos.
Perfect fit.
Okay, well, I will send you information about the discussion agenda. So it seems like the commission currently are split, but I will let you, I will give you the information about attending the next meeting, and then hopefully we will have an answer on June 21st. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For your time.
So next item is Alex Castro for Scott Piatan. Sorry everyone, I forgot to wear my glasses, so I actually can't see the screen, which is unfortunate, which is why I have to go through everything to check to see which is the right part. I got it. All right, good for me. Oh dear. Okay. Perfect. Alex, do you want to walk us through the project, or Mr. Piatan?
Yeah, Scott, are you available?
Looks like he's trying to join.
I am available. Should I do the presentation on this?
Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, all. Scott Peaton, my wife, Mary Francis. If you guys can hear me, I think so. Basically, this house is in Maywood. Back in 2018, we went through a historical. We worked with the people down in Richmond to get the tax credits on historical renovation. That was this first floor and the second floor, the sort of historical parts, and that was great. We got the full tax credits and everything. We didn't touch the basement as part of that process. Basically, as part of the process, we just had demo the basement, but we left it unfinished because of money. So we are going through the process now of finishing the basement and looking at adding a back porch. So I don't know if you have a picture of our lot, but basically the back of our yard is where we have most of the space. We are on a hill, and so we're looking at putting in a porch. It's kind of a northeast facing. So we're going to have. Go ahead, Scott. So it's kind of northeast. So we're going to have we're hopefully going to have a pergola that's not really so much for shade, but it's going to have this hopefully a little awning that we can pull down in case of rain. And that's basically the plan. I think we're looking to replace the basement door. It's not original. I sent some pictures. We still have all the original windows in our house. We've restored 31 of the 37. We have the original doors on the first floor and on the front door in the kitchen, and those are in good condition. But the basement door is from a renovation in 1980s. So looking to replace that. So maybe that's of worth. So that's the scope of all the work.
Images. There should be the specs for the door. And can you remind me, I think you submitted 2 different doors. One of which was wood.
Yeah, it should be, actually, they all should be 12 light like that. That's the front door, current front door. So it would be 12 light like that with the rectangle on the bottom. So yeah, I mean, it's a back door. It doesn't get a lot of, there's no real cover from elements. So, you know, if we could put fiberglass or something back there, that would be great. But the look would be the 12 light over the square rectangle.
So you submitted the image of your front door just to show the example of what you'd like to replicate in the back, but
Yeah,
it is
yeah. Basically, we have the doors to. I included the original doors to show that we still have the original doors on the first floor and in the kitchen, and I included the doors of the basement to show that they're not original. So you can go down and look at those. The hinges, I think the glass panes have a date 1984 on them. So anyhow, just showing you that basement door, which hopefully you guys can get to, is not original.
I am screening everything as you speak, so we are seeing everything. And so you submitted to replace the basement door, apologies,
Yes, that.
and you would prefer fiberglass with the 12 light. Sorry.
Yeah, because of the elements, if possible, yeah.
Okay. All right, so, and do you have an approximate square footage for that patio space?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't have it. I can do it, calculate it for you really quick if you want. Sorry, I don't have that information offhand.
And because of the pergola, this is going to be impermeable surface?
Yes, that's the current design, correct. But I mean, it's not because of I don't think it's because of the pergola it's going to be impermeable, but it is, the surface is, yes.
Any questions from the commissioners so far?
Just one clarifying one. I think you maybe noted in our notes before the meeting that the patio would be ACOA if it was under a certain size. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's why it is being reviewed by you, because it's going to be more than 250. And then because I cannot approve pergolas administratively, and then the door replacement also to come to you. So I feel really bad for anyone who watches this recording. So. Oh, this is you.
I'm sorry, I don't think the architect has put any measurements on this yet that I could give you an approximate size for the square footage of the patio area.
So I'm seeing, I got really close to the screen. I am seeing 18 feet by 17. And that is for the part under, and then that new additional. Yes, there are measurements on the drawings.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I must be looking at the wrong version.
Okay, so it's a retractable fabric canopy. There is the stone border. Do you have the flooring material? Natural stone. Do you know what papers you're going to use?
No, I don't think that's been decided yet.
Okay. That would be information that we would need to know before we could review it. Is that something you could get to us in the next week?
I think so. Yeah, we could provide something. Yes.
Perfect, because after this meeting, you have 1 week to submit updated information or any additional information that the commission would like in order to get that approval on June 21. You just can't approve it without that information. information. There is a list in the design guidelines of materials that have already been discussed as appropriate for Maywood. You don't have to use those because you're coming to us for a COA, so you can use any materials that you would like, but that might be helpful. We see a fair amount of bluestone. Let's see, I'm going to pull up larger images of the pergola so you can see.
Yeah, so the patio would be about 570 square feet in total.
And so there's also the new, the natural stone coping. Is that tall enough to need zoning review?
You mean, is it over 3 feet?
Yes.
I am not 100% sure. I think it's probably close to 3 feet.
How is the pergola going to be attached to the building in any way?
Yes, that is the
Yes.
design for it to be attached, correct.
Do you have information on how it's going to be attached?
Let me see. I thought I had that plan that had that.
This rear part is non-historic addition? Or no?
The pergola part?
The part that the pergola is going to affix to, is that?
Yes, historical.
Oh, okay, it's still part of the historic.
It is, there's no additions to the house that would attach to the house, yes.
It would be helpful to know how you plan to anchor it into the siding.
Okay.
Since there are no, there's no feet.
Okay, we'll have that information to you. I mean, is there any concerns about anything else on the pergola or anything, or questions regarding that? Besides the how it's attaching, how it anchors to the house?
Colors. So,
Because I would just want to make sure that what we are seeing is what you are planning to install, because you can come back to us for changes in the future before you do them, but that would require another review cycle. So if your plans have changed since you did these drawings, say that the seating has moved. I mean, I don't know if that looks like it's actually movable seating, but say something has changed, I would update that now rather than coming back to us. And it sounds like maybe some things have been changing.
I mean, I think I just have, for whatever reason, the one in my file is, the plans I have in my file are not are actually different than what you have, and so you have the correct plans. But this, I mean, I guess I'm wondering, is there any concern about the pergola itself besides how it attaches?
It does extend quite far from the house. I'm not sure what size to allow.
Well, I mean, we allow any size. There are no, I don't think there are ACOA guidelines for pergolas. So let me see on the site plan. I think they have quite a long site.
My only concern is the pergola does seem, in relation to the house, quite large. It extends way back considerably. I don't have a problem with blue ones. And it is at the rear of the property.
your property is flanked by buildings on both sides? Yeah, I think so.
Are you saying, do we have neighbors on both of our right and, yeah, we have neighbors on both sides of us. We don't have neighbors in the back, that's Fillmore, but we do have neighbors on the two sides of our house, yeah.
Okay, so, Laurie, how do you feel about the depth of dimension?
It is a little bit deep. I mean, it's not a deal breaker per se, but I agree with Andy. It is a little bit deep. And then switching over to the door question, just in terms of our sort of precedents about doors. I mean, in terms of what we've done previously, I mean, would a fiberglass door be acceptable at that location? Kind of just based on what we've approved previously, or?
I mean, I haven't checked, but I don't remember approving replacement doors in historic parts of the house that are fiberglass or vinyl. I think I only remember approving wooden replacement doors in the historic
Portions of the house.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Just given that, I think that'd be an issue regarding the materiality of the door. I think the door profile, I mean, the door, profile of it, elevation door looks fine, I think, but materiality would recommend or would push for wood in that case.
I would just, going back to the back, there was a picture, an actual picture of the porch, current porch. So the pergola is essentially going over what is the current size of the patio, if you want to get a sense of the size. The house is pretty tiny, but if you go back to that picture previously with the paver stones, you could get a sense of the area that the pergola would be over.
that is the existing.
Yeah, if you back up one more, I think you can get a better picture of that.
It would be helpful in that case, you do have an existing site plan. Having the dimensions written on that would be helpful, just so we can do we can see that it's the same-ish footprint. I don't think that's on.
Okay, so you want the dimensions on the current site plan of the existing patio?
Yes, because I'm not seeing it right now.
Okay. You did ask, I'm sorry, you did ask about those walls, and they are going to be below 3 feet. They're
Okay.
called out on the plans as low walls, so they should not be over 3 feet.
Okay, thank you. That is helpful. So yes, if you could add those dimensions onto the drawings, calculate and send me that square footage you estimated, and then give me the information about the materials, and maybe consider a wooden replacement door. You do not have to submit a wooden replacement door in the next week. You can go through to the HLRB with the fiberglass, but based on precedent, it's not something that we have, that I remember that we've approved in the past. I will do research into that, and that will be in my staff report. But so you can go forward and just submit your fiberglass door, or you can consider adding in the wood option, and that would mean that the entire package could be approved possibly on June 21st.
Okay, and the other thing we have on there is there is a gas generator on the plan on the right side of the property. I think it's called out in if you right here on the left-hand side there.
That is on the back. Okay, so
yes.
That is something
it's within that blue line. On the left-hand corner there is a for a gas generator. I just want to make sure that that's called out as also part of the request?
Yes, and that is something that is, that location behind the midpoint of the house is considered appropriate for the Maywood design guidelines, so that's I could either approved by ACOA, but in my staff report, I will state that that is.
I'm sorry, it just, the volume went off for a second there. Can you repeat that?
So in the Maywood design guidelines, generators and HVAC units placed behind the midpoint of a home are considered to be appropriate. And so that is something that I can sign off on either as staff, but since it's coming forward to us as a COA application, I will write in my staff report that it is appropriate.
Okay, thank you. And then they also wanted to consider replacing the existing concrete sidewalk that goes down to the garage. I just want, would be replaced with concrete.
Okay, so it's an existing concrete.
It's an existing concrete walkway that's
considered an in-kind improvement, and you don't need to do
no issues. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure there was no questions about it if work was being done later after the fact. So, okay. So I have all your notes, and I mean, was there anything else? Was there any other questions about anything?
Doesn't seem like it, but I will have you on the discussion agenda. Yours is the second item. And so I will send you information. Obviously, you've attended many of those meetings, but I will send you information about attending.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I think it was the one with the blue door, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, which I just closed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. While I open this up again, Ms. Rito Bricard, are you on the line?
Scott Brito is on the line. Yes, Carol is unavailable. Her husband.
Oh, wonderful. I think we have an appointment to meet next week.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay, here we are. Oh, all right, so you are applying to replace this basement door. It's on the side of your house. It is deteriorating.
Yes.
And this is a replacement door as it is, correct?
Correct.
Okay, it was replaced in 2003, you said?
I think that's right. That's a long time ago, but yeah, I think that's right.
All right, and so you can see is this door here behind that. Yeah. And so it is a wooden door. No, it's not. It's described as mahogany, but they mean fiberglass.
Yes.
Okay, and it is going to match the existing, except the existing has a board and batten inset, and it appears this is going to be a shaker double panel.
Yeah, the replacement door that is in there now was actually custom door, and in fact, this one is because it's not a standard size, height, or width. So in 2003, when we did that and we replaced the front door at the same time, we selected a different manufacturer. It was all wood, and as you can see, being exposed to the elements as it is on that side of the house, it gets hit pretty hard. That's kind of the general wind direction of heavy rains hit that side of the house hardest, and it bakes and cools in the sun an awful lot as well. So it became a challenge. We've tried to repair that once, scraping the paint, putting in filler, and it just continues to erode. So we feel like we need a different material for it to last.
Questions?
I take it it's on the side of the house?
Yes, so it is, you can just about see it over here,
Okay,
next to the.
okay. No, I don't have it.
Okay, so
And this-
non-historic door.
But, so, let me just kind of again, profile-wise, I have no problem with it at all, but, so, I mean, is this house can contribute?
The house is contributing, yes, it has been highly modified since it was listed as contributing in the Maywood nomination for the National Register. There was the Maywood nomination for the National Register, and then there was some time between that and the local historic district designation, and it was
So I wouldn't, I mean, I guess, I don't.
It's vinyl siding,
Yeah.
vinyl windows. And
I see. Yeah,
Well, this is this is a replacement door, so
yeah,
we just yeah. So we
I see.
already have different.
the door's already, okay, so that's kind of, okay, I don't want to sort of tell.
And I will check to
Yeah.
see why staff. I don't know what the recommendation was in 2003, but I will check the minutes to find out why the door was approved.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's, okay, that was kind of, I don't want to be inconsistent sort of with how we apply it to people. I mean, I think functionally it makes sense to be fiberglass, but I also don't want to say fiberglass is okay here, but it's not okay in, I guess in the one we saw just now, so. I mean, I guess I'm sort of logical with that. I guess I'm okay with it, but I need to probably think about the way that we sort of apply things. I think it makes sense for it to be fiberglass, but again, I want to apply things.
Well, I mean, as design professionals, what do you think about the quality of fiberglass doors right
For that application, probably more particular application. I mean, at the base, you can sort of beat up by wind and rain, and being on the side too, is you can't really. It doesn't take away from sort of the historic nature of the neighborhood. I think it's.
But then, I mean, it sounds like that argument was clear of the other part.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
So do you think the quality of fiberglass doors visually is, if it's not textured, is becoming close to?
Depends on the manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
I just want to make sure that we designed these design guidelines a long time ago. I want to make sure that we're still having conversations about whether the guidelines that we approved are appropriate and whether technologies have made giant leaps. Because it's a difference between a wooden door from 1916, which grew to maturity, then was cut down, then was age dried, and this, which was built in 2003 from pine and has since rotted already.
Right.
This is just me on a soapbox about modern wood.
No, it's true. It's not the same thing.
But Andy, you tend to, how do you feel about it?
Well, so I can see the wood grain. I don't think much of it. But it's relatively smooth finish. I think the appropriate line on the side elevations. I wouldn't want to see that on the front elevation. The front door is protected by, I think, a door there is keep it that way. Inside, there's not really doors you can really
I'm sorry, I can't hear whoever is speaking. Would you mind?
I said I have no problem with your proposal, as long as the fiberglass door does not have a simulated wood grain.
Okay, I don't believe it does.
see it on there.
Okay, well, it sounds like this, which agenda?
Us, Rebecca, also.
I think
She
Rebecca.
had to
Actually,
sign. Yeah, so it's just you two.
I think let's put it on. I did be fine to put it on consent. I almost take it off. Take it off. Consent.
Okay. Mr. Rito, I will contact you about your project. I have all the information I need. The commissioners think you could be on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are voted on en masse at the beginning of the meeting. Any comment from the public about it can pull it from the consent agenda, and any commissioners can pull it from the consent agenda anytime up until the vote. So I would still recommend that you come to the meeting. And I will write a staff report as well, which I will post 1 week from today. But otherwise, I'll send you the information about attending. It will once again be virtual and in person. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I think that's great. I'll look forward to the update on the next meeting, and we'll be there.
Great. Thank you so much. And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, it's
Columbia
Columbia.
High.
All right. Here you are. Perfect. Hi, and I believe Mr. Hume is online as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is an application for a new business on the back of the Celtic House pub, which is in the Arlington Village shopping center, which is in the former code HRI. And so in the rear, these are the existing conditions, and the applicant would like to put a little vestibule over this doorway. And so there is the vestibule in order to make it pleasant to look into the shop. And here is this
Did you say
sign.
vestibule or portico?
I think I've been calling it a vestibule, but I'm very open.
It's enclosed, it's a vestibule.
Yes, it's got the same door on the front and the back. Is that Mr. Hume?
No, sorry, this is Mr. Driscoll. Mr. Hume is for the Green Valley.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, he is
I'm
online.
so
I'm
sorry.
the architect.
You're the architect. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so let's see. Here are some close-ups. So I think we discussed you were trying to match what is existing on some of the other storefronts, I believe. There's already an existing vestibule. on one of the-
There's an existing portico further down.
Further down, okay. So these are photos of the conditions. And this is the front, and this is the rear. And so there's going to be a new business here. And this is the corner view. And so there you see the existing. Here you are. So we go back to those drawings. So it is, there you go, it's enclosed. And there's going to be 6/6. Are these wooden windows? No, it says wood there.
We are getting some feedback from people that it's been difficult to hear the speakers in the room, so
Oh, okay, yes.
just
Like those
speak
are
up,
our
yeah.
microphones. So would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
So currently the space is, the upstairs of the building actually has a Celtic House restaurant. The lower level was previously retail space, and the idea is to actually connect the two of them. Internal stairs, so that this will be a whiskey bar on the level. The area, I mean, it's not much of a space. It's a very small space. Seating area on the inside is only square feet. The vestibule itself is 50 square feet. So if we stuck it inside, we'd be losing 10% of the seating capacity on the inside. To try to actually leave the existing door out of any kind of vestibule would be obviously problematic at the time. If the vestibule was brought into the interior, it sticks actually in front of one of those large plate glass windows, and it because, or you have to make it as big as the plate glass window, so it's not sticking in front of it. That obviously would need more space. The other component is the three plate glass windows and the door in that area are the only aluminum storefront pieces on that building. The original building actually had wood double-hung windows, and would have had wood windows down at the bottom of those. And
So they would match these double hungs on the top.
yes,
and they wouldn't.
if you actually look at the side elevation double hungs. You could probably, if you go to the street views, further up, there's a bunch of that's the front.
And if you all wanted to join the table so that you're on camera,
Yeah,
Okay.
you're more than
and then
welcome
if you would like
to.
to also control the,
What, I have to do it?
no, you don't have, I can.
I'm gonna let you do it.
Okay.
So the wood all the windows that are up on the upper level, you know, where the signage there is, those are actually the original wood double hungs that were in the building. And they've all been blanked off on the inside. So they've never been changed because it's seasonal. But once you go around the building, almost every window in this space and door is different. There's almost no original of the fenestration. So obviously changing out the door itself right now is problematic. It's a pair of 2.6 doors, which obviously doesn't meet ADA requirements. So I want to actually make it to a single 3.0. If you look to the left, so I guess next, it must be the next page. Well, actually go forward. Should have brought these. I should have brought a copy of. Yeah, keep going to my photos.
I think
Are
those
they down? Or are they at the end?
All the photos are at the end.
Sorry. So there's a doorway to the left of the two plate glass windows. There's a door there that actually had been replaced, and that actually is part of Celtic House Code. That's what I actually mirrored the mirror. Yeah. So
Okay,
I was
this
just,
is the door that you're
yeah,
matching.
I was just duplicating that. And then the glass itself actually matches the front door. That's on the front of the bottom.
So you plan to have the same door in the front and then replace the existing door in the rear with the matching one.
So it matches the
And then
front.
we'll both be
Yeah.
ADA compliant.
Yeah, and obviously there was a pediment on the front of the building. There's a pediment on this one. There's a pediment on the decorative pediment over the door in the front for the pub. There are also broken pediments, and most of the trim in the front actually has dental molding and is more ornate. This is actually just straight crown molding and some panels, so I tried to actually sort of dumb it down so it's not as not original.
So there is the pediment on the main door.
So I'm trying to make it compatible, but not the same.
I think it ties the front and back together. Looks like it could be the same place.
Could have been there. Yeah.
So I think at first, I didn't quite understand it until I saw the front elevation. This is quite.
I agree. And then one question too, so are you bringing the sidewalk sort of around the vestibule itself? Is it sort of dies into like the side of the around?
Yes, I'm running the sidewalk around it so that still
access.
Yes.
Okay.
If you notice, there's dumpsters there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still have to haul their stuff to the dumpsters around the front of this vestibule.
I feel so.
You cross your fingers for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate as well.
Okay, so I have all the material.
Will there be submission for the sign later, or is that sign on the rear portion? Is that coming
Yeah,
later,
we
or-
still have to figure out the
Yeah.
signage.
Okay.
So otherwise it sounds like,
I think it works, yeah.
yeah, okay, so what'd you do?
I'd say put it on consent. If something. Thank you.
Perfect. So consent means that they recommend approval to the full commission.
There was one question that Robert had sort of offline. The vestibule, it's ADA accessible, correct? Okay.
So that the doors will open outwards.
Yes.
No, okay. Otherwise, no.
Great. Okay, so I will send you information about attending that meeting. You probably heard me say this before. The consent agenda is voted on at the beginning of the meeting. And anyone can pull it off the agenda by sending us, well, not a complaint, a comment. We are going to post placards around the neighborhood just to let people know. We mail your adjacent neighborhood. And so if they have any concerns, they will let us know. Otherwise, I will send you the information.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe hop in someday. Hop in down there.
Oh, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay, so 2415 Charlotte Valley Pharmacy. Okay, so now.
Yeah, Mr. Ms.
Okay, so this is an application that is a return of part of an application that you sold already. So the Green Valley Pharmacy is, the owner is partnering with a small business center, and he is working to convert this into a working restaurant, and he would like to put in some exterior seating and a pergola to help make that more like 3-season seating. In addition to that, the engineer has mapped some stormwater management issues and has identified that the planters that you previously approved as ornamental actually need to be bioretention sunk into the pavement. Mr. Hume, are you on the call?
I am.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. So would you like to add anything?
And
I am here
no.
too. Also,
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, Anwar Maharme is on our team as well. And he has actually been the point of contact, the primary point of contact with the owner and the applicant in this case. So he may have some additional information to offer. We have a small site which consists of 2 lots, but only one of them, I guess, falls under the umbrella of the historic overlay, which is the one where the pharmacy stood. The adjacent piece, which is also being developed as part of this, is not in the historic part. Is that correct, Serena? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yep. And other than that, because the site is small, we are a bit limited in where we can put things. The predominant direction of drainage from the site is from the northeast rather, to the southwest, so toward the intersection of 25th and Shirlington. So that's why we've located the bioretention bays where they are shown, because that's where the water naturally wants to go, and we're just collecting it when it gets there. Anyway, that's all I would add at this point, but I will happily answer any questions. Anwar, did you have anything?
No, I'm not gonna add anything. Just see if they have any questions.
I think this is, they have the dimensions here and this mock-up. Can I confirm that the pergola is going to be freestanding and not attached to the building?
I can't speak to that.
It's open to both way. We are gonna design it, and we might attach it to the building, but if depend of the structure itself, we might just add separate columns adjacent to the wall.
So we would need to know the installation method before we approve the plans. We would need to know if you're going to affect the historic structure or if you're going to just use the concrete.
Yeah, it is going to be standard pergola with foundation, like standard, like what you see. Once we Once we come to that stage, we will provide you the design and you can review it.
So the problem is that you have submitted this pergola on your civil engineering plans, and we cannot sign off on your civil engineering plans with a pergola until we've approved the pergola. So we would need the details on how it's going to be constructed.
Yeah, I think we are going to submit it with the architecture plan. There is architect, her name, Pat Snyder. I think it's going to be included in her plan.
Okay, do you know when that is going to be submitted?
Actually, we were waiting to get the approval. And if we get the approval of this plan, the site plan, once we get the approval, we can submit the other plan right away.
Sounds like we may need sort of everything together potentially. I mean, I guess I'll just talk about what's in front of me right now. I mean, I don't have a problem with the bioretention. I think maybe it's a sort of a nice addition to reno the site, but obviously, I don't think we can really speak to the pergola just based on there's not enough detail where we speak to the pergola. So that's needed to approve, I guess, the landscape site plan that I would say we can't make a decision on it, but bioretention looks good.
We would need to know, so okay, based on this, it appears that there was going to be the solid aluminium profile. There's information here about the coating, the crossbar, but it doesn't say how many feet there are going to be, how big the spans are going to be, how tall it's going to be.
You mean, I thought we have all the details on this one, but
well, for example, this is listed as 7,622 millimeters, which appears to be the overall length. Are there only going to be 3 legs?
I cannot see it now. I don't have it. But yeah, I remember we're gonna do. This is like the way it's gonna look like. But when it comes to exact, it's gonna be once we submit it to you, we can show you exact measurement and the height and all of these things.
I think we need to see.
Because this looks almost like long time we got this information, and by the time we get the approval, I might this material, it might be applicable or not. We have to find it, because this is the quote we got from the company, and now we have to revisit and let them provide other quotes, and by this time the prices start changing. I don't know if they're gonna honor the same prices or not. That's why if there's any changes, we are gonna come up with different design or similar to exactly like this, but maybe with little bit difference,
I think when this was previously submitted, we had problems with pergola in relationship to the historic building, and how high up pergola went, and whether you would see the top parapet of the historic building. Whatever. I don't think we can approve this. They want to say this is this building for the engineering of disposal of stormwater. I don't have a problem with it. But I certainly have a problem with any pergola without seeing elevations of the building. And I think that's, they say this is their submittal for including the pergola. I don't think we can prove it.
I would agree with that.
So I realize that your predicament is that you are trying to work with the site, but we really need that information before we can consider it. And that would include the height, where it's going to hit the building, how it's going to be affixed, how it will look compared to the building. And so Mr. Wenchel has asked I believe even last time that we met, to have elevations at least to see how much of the building will be visible once the pergola has been installed, where the parapet will be visible, because he recommended that it would be beneath the parapet line, so the building itself was not dwarfed by the pergola. And so I'm sure your architect can draw those plans once you know the height of the proposed pergola, but right now I'm not seeing that information here. It doesn't say how wide it's going to be, or how big the legs are going to be, or any of the information about how it's going to be.
Okay. Yeah, we will talk with the architecture and let her come with the cross sections and show you the heights and the dimension of this pergola, exact
Great.
dimension.
So can you get that to me this week? Do you need me to call Pat Snyder and talk her through what I need?
I will try to get it this week, but maybe I will try maybe next week if we cannot get it this week.
Okay, if you get it to me after, like in 2 weeks, then I would need to put it on the July agenda for consideration. But I suppose we could move forward with the bioretention planters for this month.
Yeah, but just main thing now you are looking for the heights and the dimension. The dimension we mentioned on the site plan, the overall dimension, and the height, I could give you now the height is going to be the height of the building, a little bit less than the building.
Okay, so I would need that in a more formal way. So yes, you get me that.
On the plans.
I will provide it to you.
Serena, I have a quick question for you, if I may.
Yes.
You had mentioned, or you had questioned how the pergola will exist, either freestanding or connected to the building. There will certainly be a connection of sorts, at the very least, to the building to create that weatherproof, rainproof connection so that the water will not run between the pergola and the building itself. But are there any prohibitions against it being connected to the building in some fashion or another?
And there are no blanket guidelines about that. However, the Secretary of the Interior standards do recommend, and it's a recommendation in name, it's a requirement, that the changes to the exterior of the building could be reversed in a way that would not damage the building. And so we would need some evidence that it's not going to.
Yep, I anticipated that, but I wanted to make certain that I understood so we could relay that to the architectural design team as well. So now there will be, like I said, there will be some manner of connection to the building in all likelihood, just so that the rain will not run between the building and the pergola.
And that should be fine. We just need the information.
Understood. And again, I wanted to be able to relay that accurately to the architectural team.
Great. And if you need me to talk to Pat or anyone on the architectural team, I can do that. Just let me know.
Yeah, Mark, let me add something. Even that, this pergola is not going to water sealed. We don't mind if there is water coming, like sealing. If we are going to do it freestanding, and those cover will be like removable, and it's going to be limited use only during the winter times or raining time. I mean, we don't have to have it sealed, I mean, we will work.
We can talk about that offline.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're less worried also about if the top of the pergola is going to be connected, but whether the columns are going to be bolted in, how that is going to affect it, because that structurally could affect the building more than the awning itself.
Yeah,
but
understood. We'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly.
Thank you so much. So I will plan to put you on the discussion agenda, and I will communicate with you over the coming week about the additional information we need and when we're going to get that. And yes, so I will send you all that information in an email.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thank you all for waiting. So I have what you submitted to me as a skill.
And we've got Alice Hagman online. She can share our PowerPoint for tonight.
Stop sharing.
Lauren's online, Serena.
Perfect. Oh, Lauren, I didn't even let you speak during the vestibule.
That's okay. You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much. And glad that got to the consent agenda. So yes, I'm here for any questions as well as kind of helping the DRC understand the many things that we're going to be talking about tonight. I think my count is 7 things. So Laura, I'm going to hold you to it.
All right. Sorry, I missed the end of your intro. Are you good for us to start?
Yes, please go right ahead and go into your overview of this kind of second half to the project.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all again. As you know, I'm Lauren Riley with Walsh Colucci. We're land use attorneys representing applicant Jared Lynch. And I'd just like to reintroduce some new folks we have in the room. They may have seen online last time. We have David Hildy from Jared Lynch. We also have Alex Hageman online, who's running the PowerPoint there. From Bosch Hairsign Architects, we have Murdad and Antoine Ladron. And then from BICA, we have Jeff Krups tonight. I believe we also have some folks from Traceries on Teams as well. So I guess that's there and more. Great. If you go to the next slide, Alice. This is just a refresher to reorient you to where we are in Barcroft. Barcroft is that overall site there outlined in yellow. And then section 3, this initial renovation phase is limited to that portion of section 3, which is highlighted in red there. And then on the right, you can see that it's limited in scope to just these 5 buildings within section 3, buildings 22 through 26. You go to the next slide. And then just to recap our May meetings with you all, we met with DRC on May 3rd, and then the HALRB on May 17th. We went over the initial renovation phase project overview as a whole, and then we mostly discussed the massing and scale materials of these building additions on 3 of the buildings, 24, 25, and 26. And so we had a little bit of homework. Coming out of those meetings, you all had concluded that the building additions were appropriate in mass and scale, but it asked us to look into some additional colors for that building 25 sleeping porch addition. Coming out of those meetings, the preference was that those sleeping porch additions would be brick and have double hung windows, since the doubles look better on the brick than the triple windows. So we've incorporated that into our design, and architects have some brick options to show you tonight as well. And then we had also discussed those rear addition vent shapes, the semicircular vents. The conclusion from those 2 meetings was that you all prefer that reduced semicircular vent size. The architect had also shown an alternate size at the alternate shape at the HALRB meeting. So we do have that as an option to show you as well. We prefer the semicircular option, but since we discussed at the HALRB, we thought we would show it. Here as well. And then aside from the design updates, we're also going to go through a couple other items relating to the renovation of those existing apartment buildings, which will be replacement of the basement windows, exterior light fixtures on the buildings that we're replacing, tree preservation and removal on the sites, some repairs to those 2 garage buildings on the site. Then we'll also go through those Virginia housing minimum design construction standards for the vinyl cladding of wood trim fascia boards, as well as the requirement for entryway canopies. So with that, I'll hand it off to Murdad with Bosch Hairsign now to walk you through some of those architectural updates.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So on this slide, we see the extensions to the building 25. As you see, you're adding 2 masts to this building. We spoke about this in our previous meetings, DRC and also in JRD, in terms of massing and the volume. I think that we're not going to repeat the same thing. Here we are showing the 2 options of the grading One is the two tones. That is our preferred actually. So that volume of the private space, or basically the bedrooms, we show it with another color. So it demarks basically with the main volume, which is the living room on the other side. I mean, that living room is shared into two different units, as you see from the middle center line. And then on the below elevation, we can see it just with one tone or monotone brick. So the whole volume will be just one brick, which matches to the existing facade's brick color. Next slide, please. Yeah, here we have the renderings. I mean, we try to show the best with our tools to show the two tones of the brick, basically. So as you see, the mass or the volume of the bedrooms, which is slightly recessed, actually, it is treated differently with with another. So even from the exterior, you can see it, and whether from the roof or from the brick color. And down there also you can see from another perspective, another angle, the same two additions basically to the building. Next. Yeah, so this one is the monotone rendering actually. Again, it's the same. Just the brick color is different, which we try to match it as much as we can. Of course, we're going to reuse the bricks that we are removing from the main building, but also the color will be matched to the existing facade. So on this one, the other element, architectural element that we see is basically the attic vent. In our last meeting, we spoke about it, that as you see the original building on the left side, that's the original size of that vent. And we had used that one, but we reduced the size. As you see, it is something like 20-25% reduced and it is more proportionate basically to this facade. The other change was that we had that stripe under the window that was like a roll-up projected out of the brick wall. That we still have it, that stripe, but it is flush to the facade, and it's not projected. It's just like another treatment of the brick course basically, so that you can see it like a stripe, but it's not projected out. It is flush to the facade. But down there, where the water table is still, so the only element that is projected is that water table on the at the ground level. That area exactly. That is the only place that we show that projected out. So this is another architectural.
I'm going to flip it back to the renderings for a second because I think it's well displayed there as well, just so we can, because I thought that was valuable to point out. Oops. You can see here.
Correct, yes. So on the rendering, we can see it a little bit better. Of course, as you see on the top, we can see that stripe in the living room volume, basically. We do not continue into the bedroom volume, but that stripe at the ground level, that roll-up is projected out, and it goes around that building extension. You can also see the new vents here. That the size is more appropriate and proportionate to the new facade. This is another approach, actually, another design that we had, an alternate design basically for the attic vent. Well, we prefer the other one, but we also studied this one and designed it. This is, as you see, it's more rectangular vents, and the overall form gives the impression of a triangle again, but it's not a triangle. It just gives that impression. We don't have this in other buildings. This is a new one. It's another approach and another design. It's not our preferred, but we would like to show you this this one too. Okay, the windows. We're going to change. Well, some of the windows have been changed in the building, and recently, a few years ago, and now we need to change the other windows to answer the request of the BHDA, the minimum requirements of the BHDA, and they are in terms of energy code, etc. They meet the requirements, as you see, the U value, the SHGC, etc. In terms of form, also they are they match the existing. They are 6/6, the simple hung, and they are simulated divide windows. So that's it.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate a little bit more. I believe all of the windows on these buildings, except for the basement windows, have been replaced before, and like Radon noted, they are the vinyl 6/6 windows. And then so what we were proposing is the same on the basements, but with this simulated divided light, as historic preservation staff and the HLRB mentioned in our last meeting, there was an interest expressed for some simulated divided light for the additions in the basement windows, but the other windows on these buildings will remain existing vinyl windows, and they do not have external lenses.
Right. And then so this is going to be for basement, and then also for the new addition windows. Yeah, for the exterior light fixture also, we're going to match the existing lights with the same design and
Jeff, you're up.
As you know, one of the more compelling components of the Barcroft site is the mature tree canopy and the setting in which all these buildings are placed. And we just wanted to take a minute to walk you through our overall strategy, which of course is to be as sensitive as possible to that environment. So this is kind of a high level diagram, but I think it's fairly helpful. Everything that's circled in a color, right, is one of the trees on site. And we color coded them so that you can understand what's happening. The most important thing I think to point out is the red trees are the trees that are coming out because of just direct conflict with the building, right? So our intent is to only remove the trees that we have to remove. Those 6 are coming out because of, well, actually the 4 primary ones right in the center are coming out because of the actual construction. There are 2 shown to be removed because they're basically on their way out and they're not contributing to anything meaningfully. The green are all the large trees that are being proposed. The blue is a very important contiguous canopy that county has identified as a preservation area they'd like to see maintained, which we are adhering to. And then lastly, there are 2 other colors. The yellow color are invasive species trees, which we've identified, which we will be removing per the county sort of standard. We would do that on anything. So those yellow trees are coming out. And then there are 2 dead trees in purple, which are going to be, will come out and be replaced in kind. Ultimately, what the chart on the right-hand side says is, you add all that up, we owe a certain number of trees, and we're going to be providing well beyond that number of trees. So it's our goal to replace that canopy beyond what we're taking down. And the other component too is this is sort of a snapshot in time. We are, as you can imagine, one of the other components to the rehabilitation is to deal with the drainage, right, from the downspouts. A lot of the downspouts now just splash onto the ground. It erodes the ground. So one of our goals is to try to mitigate that. So the sort of final configuration of how that drain system shakes out is still being worked on. So this may evolve slightly as that goes on, but we're trying to, once again, be as light on the land as we possibly can, given that we're trying to now capture all of the downspouts and restore the ground to a more stable and uneroded state, if you know what I mean. So that's sort of from a high level, that's what we're trying to do from a tree preservation standpoint.
Thank you, Jeff. Alice, if you could stay here for just a moment, this will tie into the garage repairs. Do you mind moving your mouse to where those two existing garage buildings are? Yeah, so that you can see where they are on the site plan. If you go to the next slide. And I apologize, we were not able to get this information to you in time to include in your packet for this meeting, but we've been in discussions with Lauren and Cynthia Historic Preservation about these existing garage buildings on the site. And as you can see, they need a little bit of love and repair as well. So the applicant proposes to kind of upgrade, repair these buildings in a similar fashion as they are the existing apartment buildings, and so they'll be cleaning that brick, pointing it up where it's necessary. There are portions of these roofs that need to be repaired on the garage buildings. Also be replacing some light fixtures like we're doing on the existing apartment buildings. And they'll also lastly replace these garage doors with the same pattern and color to match the existing ones. So we wanted to show that to you as well. And I think I'll hand it back to Verdad to wrap up with the Virginia housing requirements that we discussed.
Yeah, correct. So as Lauren said, as a part of the minimum requirements for the Virginia housing, they have to repair and or if necessary, some changes to the exterior, to the trim and fascia. As you see, whatever it is, the exterior wooden trim, brick mold, seals, fascia, etc. And the columns are to be clad with vinyl and vinyl coated similar materials. And there are some exceptions that may be considered for historic buildings. This is the idea, yes.
We will be applying for a waiver for Virginia housing. Unfortunately, we won't know the outcome of that waiver until after August. And these items are going to the county board in July. So we're including them in the for now.
So we arrived to the canopy that is also one of the requirements. So we had designed it, and we showed you these two designs before in our previous meeting. There are two different approaches for the canopy. So one is more, let's say, not just modern but functional because of its width, and as you see, it is with the tie back to the main building that is on the left side, and the other one is more classical and more traditional. That is again, it's with a very light structure. Also, it is tied to the building, but it's probably narrower and less wide. It provides like 30 inches of overhang along the front and 12 inches along each side of the door. That's it.
We'll be applying for an exemption for this as well. So, and then we have these options. So if we have to put a canopy, we have to clad the trim. These are the options.
So this is the option one actually with the tie back to the building. So we try to make it elevated so that we can. It doesn't really. What can I say? We can see the entire door trim and that decorative element that is around the door, so that this canopy is well high above the door. Both of them are actually the same, but with different design and different approach. And then this is our preferred actually, and then the next slide, as you see, is with a much lighter structure, like a triangular structure, and just a sloped. It covers a little bit of front of the door. And then also on the back entrance, also we have a canopy. Again, it's same designed to the continuity of the second option, but we don't think that we need that option one for the back door actually. So that's the second entrance, and it's the back entrance actually.
That's the end of our presentation. In terms of timing, so this is the second time we're before you. We'll go before the HALRB again on the 21st. We're also going to the Form-Based Code Advisory Working Group next Wednesday to give them an update on the 14th. And then we expect to go before the Planning Commission and the County Board on our Form-Based Code Use Permit, which will incorporate the proposed renovations and additions. That'll happen in July. So now we're happy to discuss the renovations and design updates with you.
Can I make a few comments?
Of course.
Okay, I missed the presentations before. It was Eastern Europe back. And so this is the first time I've actually seen it.
Okay.
I didn't have any problem with most of what I've suggested. Where you have the new additions to the building on the back.
The sleeping porch additions.
The edges of that building run right up to the existing window frame. And if you stop the sleeping porch, maybe at least a foot, say, short of the recess the wall slightly, move the notch out of that would make building those windows look less crowded. They look awfully crowded with brick running right up to.
Alice, do you mind going back to the rendering so we can just see?
I can show you.
Yeah, see. Oh, I see.
Okay.
So at the corner right
yeah,
there.
If I could. It's this point here. It just runs right up to the building. If you stop this wall, this plane right here, short of that, put a slight recess in, get a recess that would read, it wouldn't look like right up to the building. And I don't think that would affect square footage. Take out maybe.
So for those on the computer, Mr. Winchell was pointing out where the sleeping porch addition meets the existing building on the back and how close that is to the existing window frames. And so the suggestion was to slightly recess the sleeping porch addition by a foot or so where it meets the existing building. So Murtaugh, did you have any?
Well, I do agree with you that in terms of form, it is it's a good idea. My only concern is that we have docks on that wall actually that comes out, and that makes some sort of, turn dot and bulkhead that makes it, say, on the interior side, that's going to make it, probably from the exterior side, it's better, but from the interior side, we're going to have some problems at that time, But again, we can coordinate and think about this.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Well,
there are so many solutions.
It looks like Lauren
Yeah, I think that was a very good comment, Andy. And I'm just kind of curious, when you mean you want it to kind of be pulled back away from the window, then we'll start to lose square footage though for this space, or are you just hoping to have that be a part of the brick design a bit?
I think that in terms of square footage, I would say you're going to take about 1 square foot on each floor to recess.
Lauren, I think he needs to keep the wall and then push it
visually,
in
it
slightly.
just crowds that window.
Okay. And just because I'm thinking of all the things we need to talk about, I hope you don't mind if I make a suggestion that we look at each thing that was presented to the DRC in order. And Mr. Davis, if you don't mind, maybe we can just get input from each of the DRC members on each one. That way we can just make sure that we hit every point tonight. And if everyone's comfortable with that approach, my suggestion is we go around the table and ask how people are feeling about the color of the brick, going from the light to the dark. And if everybody, which one do they like most?
That one. So I prefer option one, the two-tone brick. That's my preferred option. I think the only addition I'd make is that eventually this porch might also benefit from having the soldier course banding as well. They're kind of tied together, but not change the color. But the banding should be the same color as the main brick of the itself. So it's going to add like a same color soldier course at that addition to the addition.
And then the main addition.
This thing of having it's adding cursor is so adding a
continuing in the brick cut, the brick cut.
Yeah. It's going to tie the brick patterning together.
Actually, we had that design too. We had so many different scenarios, but at the end we had to decide which one to take and which one to move.
I mean, it does read as a very solid mass, or just as it is now. I think that would at least that would add design. But definitely an option.
Okay, Andy, what are you feeling? Option one or option two?
I think option one is fine.
Okay.
I'd like to point out option one, and this illustrates it. Again, if you see the light brick and then your addition, the darker brick, you've got a recess there. You turn the corner and show that the two pieces are different. That's what I'm getting at on the rear notch. It doesn't, it reads like you ran literally what you've done is run the thing right next to the frame, and I don't think you do that. I think it, quite frankly, looks visually awkward. So that's my,
Rebecca?
You had to step off, Lauren, so she's not online anymore. So just Omari and Andy.
Okay. Serena, did Robert provide any comments, maybe by email or anything?
Not yet, no.
Okay. 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 So it sounds like Omari, Andy, you both are comfortable with option one with maybe some tweaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. I think we should go to, we did have, you guys presented, I think, the vents next, because so why don't we talk about the attic vents? Are you, sorry, go ahead.
On the vents, I guess what I'd like to see again is the triangle, the three rectangles.
Oh, the other option.
Yes, the other option.
Yeah, the other,
option two is, I think,
you prefer option two?
I prefer option two just because it really distinguishes the additions as different. And I think it accomplishes your purpose in terms of addition. It's like it because it makes another statement about the fact that these are additions, not part of
moreover, it's a touch of modernity, I would say, in this one, instead of bringing the same old. I mean, old is good, but you know, the same vents, basically. Yeah.
It's just
the marks between the old. It's a conversation.
Just trying to make a distinction as you've done with the brick color and so forth between what was the original building, but
Right.
I just think it's subtly marked.
I would agree actually as well. I think that the reduction in the half round looks, I think it looks appropriate and it looks nice, but I do think that this is kind of a sharp, kind of more modern sort of take on things. I like it, yeah. Kind of freshens it up in a way. I didn't expect that it would do sort of so much for it, to be honest with you. Very subtle, but I do like this one better.
Okay. I think the next item are talking about the basement windows. Good. Got the order down. I took good notes. Okay.
I'm impressed.
So thanks, Alice. So all right. So with the windows, we are proposing to replace the metal awning windows that are at the basement with a vinyl window, but is the same pattern as what is there now, and it will be simulated light. And then these would also be the windows that are being proposed in the additions. Do I have that all right?
Correct.
Okay. So can you
the existing basement windows? So just to show what what we're replacing.
And can you all, so are we going to start looking into the fact that the basement spaces, like there's no units in these right now, correct? No, it's the kind of utility space, I think. Are we planning?
It's storage space.
Okay. And are you planning with the basement story? Is this now going to be living units?
No, anywhere that we're not changing any storage space into units. And then anywhere that was a basement unit, as you might call it previously, they've already replaced the windows. So basically any windows serving a unit have already been replaced. It's just the windows that were serving storage space that had not been replaced.
And just so that the DRC know, this is a item that does not follow the conservation area standards with replacing these windows, but they are your typical kind of metal frame windows, and they are challenging to make the spaces inside energy efficient. I mean, I'm seeing that all the windows have been replaced, and, again, we've kind of been given a bone a little bit with the National Park Service kind of stating that, the windows and window replacements, at least for multifamily buildings, is not as a significant of a change. But please, Omari and Andy, what are your thoughts on the replacement of the basement awning windows?
I don't have any problem with it. I'm fine with it.
One question though, would the new basement window would also be divided to have the sort of three lights? I noticed that they're sort of like short, like a 3-light divided basement window. If you go to the image of previously, there's like.
Yeah, Alice, can you go back to your photos?
I don't know if they're all that way or not. Just curious. I mean, will the new ones?
Yeah, they're 3 divided. Yeah, they're different. Yeah. I mean, you guys looked into the window types down here. Would they be the same 3 divided light?
Okay. In that case, I'm no problem.
Have any of these awning windows already been replaced anywhere in Barcroft?
Alice, do you know?
Not to my knowledge. Not
Yeah,
that
I don't think
certainly not in this section where I've spent a lot of time.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think so actually, but I can't say 90% sure that they are not changed. But again, we don't remember. We didn't really pay attention to this detail.
Good job.
Lauren, when we're dealing with you make a mention in the presentation that with this being one of the items that doesn't meet the conservation area standards, what is the administrative process that you'll need to go through with the form-based code and having this go through to the county board? What is the mechanism? Do you just propose that that it's just the matter of that it doesn't meet the standard, but for these reasons, we think it should move forward? I mean, or does all of the conservation area standard then get changed for all properties?
We are not proposing to amend the form-based code conservation area standards. So I think we are able to move forward with this form-based code use permit, kind of with this modification of this standard. And then I don't believe, I can double check with planning staff, but I don't think we need any approval from the HALRB. Just you all will submit your recommendations to the county manager, and then the county board will approve the project as proposed.
So Amara, I think you said you were fine with vinyl. And Andy, did you say you were fine with the vinyl replacement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, I think we can move on now to the entrance canopies.
Or we had light fixtures.
Ah, darn it, I got it wrong. All right, light fixtures.
So
All right, light fixtures.
yeah, this one was really quick.
I have no problem with it. I mean, it's pretty much kind. I think it's appropriate for the sort of in kind, sort of more traditional looking fixture. I mean, to any reason, it's sort of a modern picture here. If that makes sense.
I agree. I think that's fine.
Cynthia has her hand up.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I think it would be helpful if you know this tonight, great, but I think for the HLRB, if you could provide the total number of fixtures you're replacing in this section 3.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get that information. You want
Thank you.
Total number? Would it be helpful to have any other types of exhibits, like showing where they are on the buildings, or just the number?
I think the number, as long as you're not introducing them into new places, if you're just swapping out existing sconces, I think that's fine. But I think if you're deviating from that at all, I would suggest pointing that out.
Great. Okay.
And can you do it per building?
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay. All right, I think the next one I cheated because you flipped. So it's the tree plan, but you didn't say anything about the renovated courtyard. Do we have any?
Well, it's ongoing. Yeah, I mean, the renovated courtyard, it's basically completely shaded. So anything that we do in there is going to be pervious, right? So it's either going to be wood decking or some sort of mulch treatment for a trail that goes through there. So it's very light. And there are a couple of trees proposed, ornamental understory trees that would potentially go in there. That area is still being looked at from a design standpoint. So it's evolving. But thank you for bringing that up. I had forgotten to mention that.
We're planning on having some seating there as well, like some kind of picnic table benches for folks in the community to gather and together. But those details will get fleshed out a little more with when it comes time to do the landscape plan that Jeff will work on.
So how would that work then if we aren't able to get an idea of how the courtyard will look before the HLRB meeting?
Alice, do we have that sketch? We have a highly conceptual sketch that we put together.
Give me a second. I'll pull it up here on the side.
And Lauren, we will also have that more refined for this next use permit submission. So with a little bit of luck, we'll have it available prior to the meeting with HALRB, the next version of this. So it'll have more detail so you can assess it a little more closely.
Okay.
Alice, I think it's the first backup slide.
Oh, thank you. Let me see. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys.
Looks good.
You like it?
Yes, approved. Yeah, here,
Yeah.
Jeff, do you just want to go over the?
We just get back to it. There we go.
There we go.
So as you can see from the previous plan, the blue plan, the entire area is covered by canopy well overhead. This happens to be one of the few relatively flat areas on the site. As you know, if you've been out there, it's very, very steep. So we wanted to make use of this area to just provide a little gathering space for the broader, grouping of buildings. So the intent would be perhaps a very like a mulch or a compacted gravel trail that would connect from the stairways, and a couple of picnic tables, a couple of benches, and some ornamental trees underneath. That's sort of the maximum that we would do there. In addition, what we're looking at right now, Lauren, is on the right-hand or the left-hand side where it says existing lawn. It's kind of it's an area that's kind of eroded. It's got big trees there. But from an ADA accessibility standpoint, this area, the rectangular area, is down 4 to 6 feet below the parking lot, which is that double line on the upper left-hand side. So we're going to provide a smaller area where it says existing lawn that would be our accessible component to this community gathering space. So that's the piece that's evolving as we speak. So we'll get more details for you as we go. But there are retaining walls that are around that now. They will remain. We're not proposing to, we might punch through to put a better set of steps down, because the steps in that lower set of steps is very narrow. So there's some pieces that are moving, but we want to disturb that as little as possible, given that there are a lot of trees and roots throughout that area.
Thanks for that overview. And I think it would be I'm glad, thank you so much for being prepared and having it as a hidden slide. I know you all are working on this, but I think that the HLRB will be interested to see it. I think my one question I have is, Alice, do you know if you have a view of this area, like an existing condition photo of this area?
I have a couple photos I can pull up right now.
I'm sorry, I hijacked the DRC discussion. Sorry, Mr. Davis.
Of course, now it's taking its time loading. So this is the existing retaining wall. The stairs are just off screen here, and this is sort of the existing lawn area that Jeff mentioned, where we'd put the accessible components. Here's another view. Sorry, I was obviously looking for specific reasons, but stairs again are kind of right off screen here, and just showing the sort of flat area that we want to improve.
And that fence is on a 46 retaining wall. Right?
Yeah, the retaining wall here.
It's down.
So you all are going to keep the rails?
Yeah,
I'll probably paint them, fix them up, paint them.
Okay.
Yeah. They're pretty typical for what we see on site. So rather than, reinvent the wheel there, just match exist, or not even replace, just paint and clean up.
And it's really required because of the drop from one side to the other. So we would need to have a guardrail there of some kind anyway. So, yeah.
Mr. Davis and Mr. Warhood, do you have any questions about the tree plan? The fact that, taking my notes that it's 7 trees that need to be removed because it's affected by the construction, but we'll be getting 12 back. And the fact that they're getting rid of invasive species. If there's any concerns on that?
No concern on that, no. I mean, looking here at sort of where the red circles are, makes sense. Trees at those locations based on different factors and conditions. Also, they locate sort of somewhere actually touching the building on most of the walls. So it's all pretty standard. It makes sense. I mean, and the good thing is there's more trees after the fact, and also the main canopy is staying at the distance. So that's a positive.
I agree. No problem.
I think the question that I have on this is, with the 12 replacement trees, are you doing the 12 replacements in section 3, or are you putting it throughout Barcroft, or are you going the route of donating to the tree fund?
No, these will all be replaced on site, on this site,
At section 3, okay.
this section 3, yes.
Okay, great. And my last question is the big tree that needs to come down. Do you have an idea of what the diameter is on that?
We do. I don't have it with me, but we have inventoried every tree on site, so we have the deviation, all that stuff, so I can get that to you.
Okay, I just anticipate that you'll have some tree enthusiasts at the HLRB meeting that will may ask those details. So
absolutely, yep.
Great.
For the heads up.
I can pull that up, but we can move. It'll take me a minute.
Fine.
Then we have the garage repairs. What's next, I think?
Yes.
What material is are the garage doors right now? Is that vinyl?
I actually couldn't tell you. I think they probably are vinyl if I had to guess. I don't know if anyone else on the team has a better sense, but I'm not 100% sure.
Was that a question about the garage doors?
Material, yeah, garage door material.
I want to say that most of the garage doors at Barcroft are still wood.
Oh.
But I don't believe these are because of the way you can see there's like dents in them. Like I think maybe they're like an aluminum type material, but I don't think it dents like a wood.
We'll
We can confirm.
Yeah,
that.
we'll take a look at the material before the HALRB meeting.
Okay.
What was the replacement door material?
Alice, we don't have the specification for the door quite yet, but we would locate a door that has the same pattern and the same color as the existing door.
Correct. And with these repairs to the garages, I know that some of the spaces it seems like a lot of the residents there are using the garage spaces for storage or even maybe for like workshop kind of items. Is the hope that this will now kind of go back to, I'm assuming that they were used just as car garages originally. Is that the hope that that's what would be the case, or what are your intentions?
Right, we didn't know for some time quite how these were being used in the majority of the cases, but David, do you want to speak to the survey that you've done?
Yes, we surveyed them, and actually, it turns out a majority is used for storing vehicles. Actually, we thought it was more storage, but
okay.
Yeah, we thought it was the other way around, but it turns out people are actually parking their cars in these garages more often than not. So the intent, because they are currently being used for parking, would be to keep them as required parking for the site.
And it looks like the diameter of that tree in question 3343 is 38 inches. Does that sound right to you, Jeff?
Yes.
Big. I know. It's a sad loss for all of us.
More family-sized units.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Let's go back to the tree discussion then. I think then that's a big tree. That's a really big tree. Now, I don't know what the options are, but if there's any creative solutions you can come up with to continue to sweeten the approach to this, I agree, more family units are a need. I would reiterate to the HLRB the fact that we only have 6 4-bedroom in all of the county, even like something to that extent. I'm just wondering if there might be some approach to when these trees come down, maybe it's looking into the idea of reusing the wood for the picnic tables, something that kind of doesn't feel like we're just, I think you're going to have to consider some approaches.
Probably not a bad idea. I mean, it is a large tree, and it's a oak, and it's healthy. It's probably still got a lot of years left. So I mean, just kind of think of that. And yeah, I mean, I understand that. I think that given sort of the housing shortage and Arlington in general, it could probably make sense to do it, but we probably also sort of discuss ways of mitigating the loss as well.
Might be a good idea for us to understand with the 12 trees that are going to be planted on site, what their lifespan is anticipated to be, as well as how large they might be able to grow. I don't know if that might kind of calm down feelings.
Yeah, that, and Jeff, you can speak to, we are planning on going above and beyond the required tree replacement on this site.
Yeah, the actual landscape plan, I think at the end of the day, we're all told there's a replacement total of about 21, I think now, but we're proposing probably on the order of 30-ish, and they will all go in this area. So again, we'll be providing more, and it will be a mix of both canopy trees with that expected life, long life expectancy, and high, large trees providing the shade, as well as a few of the understory trees, which are, smaller but flowering, provide some interest. So it'll be a mix of both, but we can have a little more specificity to that for the HALRB.
Thanks for answering my questions on that and bringing that up, Alice. And Omari and Andy, is there any other comments you want to have on the garages?
Just the green growth on top of the garage, that's just like a vine or weed, I guess. It's not green or root.
No, it's not. It's not intended to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Landscaping and cleaning up.
Green volunteer.
Be very forward thinking.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it's kind of nice.
It wasn't so shady right there, I think, well, we can lean into that a little.
All right. Okay. What's next in the presentation? Since I got it wrong, past 3. All right.
Yeah, we flopped it in on the Virginia housing requirements. So it's the trim and fascia boards and the canopies. Last 2.
Just to reiterate on that too, so we're applying July 1, our Virginia housing application. They have a set cycle, and for that they need the use permit to come in July, but they're not going to get to review our drawings until August. That's why we say that in no scenario can we get it before the submission, unfortunately. So what we've been trying to do is just, we know that this has been done in the past. There's exceptions for these, but we're just not going to know. And we are going to be applying for them. We'll be applying.
I think with that, I think it makes sense. Obviously, hopefully the project gets the exception. Otherwise, I think it's required. So I don't have to get that waiver.
So just to give a little bit of extra info, I know that we're trying to see if we can get an exemption for these items because again, it doesn't follow our conservation area standards, but there are a couple ways to look at it. It is, so you all are planning on replacing the wood if it's damaged and then covering it with vinyl or aluminum, correct?
Is Sarah or Laura on the?
I think Laura, I saw Laura was on, but I bring that up only because if that is what is being planned to be done, whenever these types of changes are needing to be done to a historic building, the idea, we are always looking into what could typically be reversed in the future if necessary. And I look at it as if this is something where we cannot get a waiver from Virginia Housing's requirements and this needs to happen, that it's still there, it's just covered. And I know that that's not ideal, but I also recognize that we aren't going to be able to confirm or not if we're able to get a waiver. Now, I have a meeting set to talk to the kind of review compliance representative at the Department of Historic Resources tomorrow, in fact, to kind of get a better understanding of this waiver possibility and see what the process is, just to kind of get a better understanding of it, as well as just see if I can understand some of the different scenarios, so that I can at least give the HLRB some more information on it, because again, I can't ask them what is the likelihood that this is going to get a waiver, these items, but you know, maybe they can give me some more information and we can kind of feel comfortable that maybe there is a likelihood that that will happen. So we're trying to get as much info as we can.
Right. And in terms of the reversibility, I think Laura, Sarah, the intent is to clad over on top of the wood trim with vinyl. And then one thing I don't know is whether or not there are any pieces that would need to be, that are in disrepair, need to be replaced, or whether they would be replaced with vinyl. That's something we can find out.
Yeah, I think that's, oh, sorry, was that Laura?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the plan is to cover the wood trim. And I think one of the requirements is that if there's any wood that's failing or rotting, it would be replaced in kind prior to any covering with the vinyl.
And I think the only other question that I have then is, for example, we're looking at this door surround right now that's very ornate, and the door surrounds are the most decorative feature of many of the buildings in Barcroft. If it's not part of the brick, is a big part of the design. This being covered with aluminum or vinyl, and I'm seeing, for example, that fan design, is that going to just get completely like covered over, or is it going to be mimicked? Like, I don't know how I can visual, like I'm not seeing a visual of what it would look like. And so I don't know if you can answer that question. And if not, then I think the HLRB would like to see what it would look like.
Do you have an idea?
Well, the idea is to cover it exactly with the same profile. And
okay.
That has been done before, and it's possible. It's not impossible to cover it exactly. So you're going to see the same thing, but it's going to be just cladded.
Okay.
That's something we should add in our notes and presentation, just so we're exact.
Maybe I've looked at them and maybe I've seen examples and I've turned away, so I don't know. But I would appreciate if you did have some examples, some photographs of other buildings or what it would look like. I think it would be good to know. But I think for the DRC members to know, and we'll repeat this to the HLRB, this is a scenario where this is not approving of a COA, and we are a part of the review, and we're trying to influence as much as we can with the design and the treatments of these buildings. And I think that there will eventually be a scenario where the HLRB will, in their discussion, determine what they are comfortable with, what they aren't, and would probably put this into some type of statement to the county board so that they know what the discussion was and where everybody's leaning.
Is the cladding done in the field, I guess, or is it? I mean, just kind of...
I think that they're going to come and survey exact, profile,
right?
And then they're going to fabricate the clad and then just. Yeah, that's. I think that the DC court actually has an example. You know that there is a project in White House that did the same thing. So yeah, there are some examples.
We want to talk about the canopies as well, those two options that we have.
Yeah.
This is an older image, but it helps to show them together. Just let me know, excuse me, which one you'd like to see. in larger format. I'll move around.
So option 1 is on the left and option 2 is on the right.
Correct. Yes.
I actually prefer option 2 to option 1. That's my, that was, option 1 is a little bit more, it's a bigger statement, but I kind of like the quieter statement of option 2.
I think the simpler one is better.
What was that again, Andy?
I think the simpler one is better.
Okay.
I agree with Omar.
Okay.
And again, these will only be applied if, like I said, if the waiver is not granted.
If it's not granted. So this is the same category we are going to apply to not put any canopies. Okay. Get an exemption for that. But in
And
the
just
case,
to kind of,
we want to have something proposed.
and you know, we've had canopies. There's actually canopies in Barcroft. In some areas, they're more like part of on like the side entrances and stuff. But and they're held up. They protrude a little bit farther. They're held up by posts. You know, I looked at this as it's kind of making me think of some of our commercial buildings that usually like to have awnings to provide shelter for exterior seating and whatnot. But we looked at it when we were talking to the project team here about the canopies, trying to have them be, again, thinking of how could we reverse this if we needed to, and if they're going to be put into the brick that, you know, we'll try and see if we can get it into the mortar joints so that we're not damaging the brick, those types of, you know, things that we can try and do to minimize the impact to the character defining features and materials. So prepared.
I'm trying to keep up. Yeah, this is section 7. So, you know, this is phase 2 of the whole development, different architect and everything, slightly different style of the garden style apartments. But yeah, this is the typical, and this is actually more of a side entrance. Well, I guess it is the main entrance with the building address there. But yeah, this is the standard that we see elsewhere in Barcroft, or in section 7, I should say.
I need to add that we don't have that decorative element around the door in the section 7. So you see that the height of the door is different. So that those two cast iron columns are not shocking actually to support the entire canopy. But in our design there, well, we had to elevate the entire canopy to free that you know, that look of the door trim, and that was the whole thing was designed together. So that was the intention.
Yeah, to reiterate, we definitely needed to go with a different design because we were trying very hard to not hide the beautiful trim work there.
This image has a different wall sconce. That's just sort of like a prior thought, or is that?
These are placeholders.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're not gonna.
Okay.
There's this one. Unless you insist.
No, I did not.
Okay, and I think the last things to talk about might be just the punctures for the vents on the rear of the buildings, but I don't really know how much discussion. I'm sorry, I'm assuming there's not much discussion with that because I can't think of where else will you put them. I think the rear is the best that we can try and go for whenever we're trying to put any new vent punctures. And trying the fact that you've kept them away from the front. I think that DHR has tried to kind of influence other projects in Arlington to try and see if they can get those on the rear. So any questions or concerns from the DRC on that?
That sounds good to me.
The rear sounds good.
Yeah.
So we have, I think we got them all, unless there was anything else that maybe we had missed, or if the DRC would like to have some more follow-up questions on anything that was not the big 7 items that we needed to talk over tonight.
The canopy, the rear canopy.
Oh, the rear canopy.
Oh, yeah.
You're on it.
That's part of or is that, what will be put in no matter what?
Is this required?
Yes, for all building entrances and all building entrances.
Oh,
So we could potentially get away with like storage units that are not used by any residents. But any unit entrance and any building entrance per se will for sure need to have.
Yeah, there's the.
And just to clarify, so we're in our application that we're not even showing the rear either. We're not showing.
Right.
We're asking for exemption for the rear.
Okay, that's my question too. Okay.
Yeah, this is just shown for discussion.
Just a bonus.
Yeah.
Can you do what Cynthia asked about, like with the light fixtures? Like, can you give us an idea of how many per building are going to need to be put on?
Yes. Yeah, we'll come up with that information.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Good work. I mean, it's good. Thank you for considering our recommendations last time as well. Appreciate that. Along well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate your feedback. This has been a good discussion.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in and providing the presentation. And we will be in contact with you all about an overview of how everything went tonight. And then and I will also keep some of the members on the team up to date with how the discussions are going with the Department of Historic Resources concerning the waiver possibility, so that we can try and give the HLRB as much information as possible, even though we don't have a crystal ball at this time. So, okay. Thank you
all. See you at HLRB.
Yeah.